Thank you for joining Money Simplified, your guide to money and mutual funds, presented by Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund. We appreciate your participation. At PersonalFN, we are committed to help investors achieve their financial goals and objectives. Our core proposition is built around unbiased research and financial planning. We wish to thank Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund for partnering with us in this investor education and awareness initiative. Welcome to the 26th session of Money Simplified, your guide to money and mutual funds. We are glad to have you with us for the 26th session on Life Goal 3, How to Plan Your Retirement. Alright, so now let's get started. Many of us work hard all our lives to earn more so as to give better lifestyles to our families and provide for their financial goals. But it often happens that planning for one of the most important goals, which is retirement, is ignored or simply delayed. You see, if you wish to enjoy the standard of living that you're enjoying at present and even during retirement, you cannot ignore planning for the retirement or put it off to another day. The more you ignore or delay, the more difficult it becomes to counter the inflation bug later. Noel Whittaker, an eminent financial wizard who has authored several books, has rightly said, "Life is full of uncertainties. Future investment earnings and interest and inflation rates are not known to anybody. However, I can guarantee you one thing. Those who put an investment program in place will have a lot more money when they come to retirement than those who never get around to it." So, taking cognizance of these words of wisdom, in this session of Money Simplified, we'll guide you to the path of rich retirement. We will tell you the ways to meet your dream of comfortable retirement and all the measures you should take while planning for a hassle-free retirement. First, you need to ask yourself important questions. And when you're jotting down the important questions that need to be answered honestly, involve your family. You see, involving your family, especially your spouse, is vital while you plan for your retirement because together you can have a better clarity on how and when you want to retire. In order to live a comfortable or a blissful retired life, here's a list of questions you both should introspect while planning for the golden years. First, when do I want to retire? While you decide on this, you need to be realistic. You cannot merely set an ambitious target to retire early. It is imperative to take into account the financial responsibilities you are shouldering and the financial goals that you need to fulfill for your family, such as buying a dream home but within your means, children's education, their marriage, etc., and then see what you own at present and can build in future to achieve these goals. This will help you to recognize the gap between reality and your dreams. Then the next question you need to ask is, how long will I live? As you may be aware, the average life expectancy of people in India has increased to 70 to 75 years of age. This table can serve as a useful reference for you. While that's good, you have to take into account the fact that old age and health issues go hand in hand. And with the kind of stress and challenging conditions that we are witnessing around us today, we often see people being a victim of some of the other health-related problems as early as in their 40s, which impact their lives. Do not forget, you may need to service your retirement for many years, and that too with low income or no income. Then the next question you need to ask is, what is my monthly basic expenditure? You see, calculating your present monthly expenditure is the key to predicting the future corpus you'll require when you retire. This is because during your golden years of retirement, you must have sufficient corpus which can at least maintain the standard of living that you enjoy at present. Say currently if your monthly basic household expenditure is around 1 lakh, you should also consider the additional expenses that you may incur every month on medicines, fuel, phone bills, lifestyle expenses, entertainment expenses, etc. This will help you gauge your retirement needs well. And do not forget to account for inflation because as it has an effect of eroding the value of money, the sum of rupees 1 lakh which you are defraying at present may be insufficient in the future. Therefore, through experience we can say that often, since inflation is not accounted optimally, many individuals encounter a challenge during golden years. So on that note, you need to ask yourself, what will be my cost of expenditure in the future? To answer this, take an optimal rate of inflation. Since 1957, inflation in India has grown at an average of around 7.5%, while over the past 10 years, inflation has grown at an average of around 8.8%. So if inflation has to grow at say 8% per annum, the sum of rupees 1 lakh which you are expending monthly today may turn to be rupees 6.85 lakh after 25 years. Or in other terms, the value of rupees 1 lakh kept in a safe would be just around 14,600. Then the next question you need to ask is, do I have enough contingency corpus? Taking inputs from one of our earlier sessions of Money Simplified on planning for contingencies, you also need to examine this very carefully. You see, one cannot avoid an uncertainty which may knock your door without informing you. Thus, you have to be well prepared to manage it, keeping aside 6 to 24 months of your monthly expenditure, including EMIs, is always advisable to build a contingency reserve. Then the next question you need to ask is, how much should I provide for my healthcare and medical needs? As you may be aware, with growing age, your medical needs may also increase. So you need to account for this while planning for your retirement. Here as well, you have to consider inflation, which is in healthcare and has been around 10%. So say if you are spending rupees 1 lakh annually today on medical needs and an average rise in healthcare inflation is 10%, then after 25 years, you require a sum of rupees 10.83 lakh for annual medical needs, and that may increase with your age as well. Then the next question you need to ask is, what do I own and owe? In the retirement planning process, it is vital to take cognizance of your assets and liabilities. While assets are what you own, liabilities are what you owe, which you need to repay before you retire to live a stress-free retired life. Therefore, list the assets and liabilities down. All your investments in shares, mutual funds, bonds, fixed deposits, gold, ornaments, ancestral properties, land, etc. are your assets, provided you do not have any loan or encumbrances against them. Remember, you should not consider your self-occupied house as an asset, since it's your primary home, a house where you are living with your family. The second house, of course, can be considered as an asset, provided it is free from encumbrances. You should also classify which of these assets you would like to keep for your retirement and which of these you would like to pass on to your legal heirs. And as far as liabilities are concerned, of course, since you may not want to pass them on, you should make sure that all your liabilities are repaid and as soon as possible. Then the next question you need to ask is, can I generate cash flows during retirement? You see, while you may have invested in physical and financial assets, you have to assess which of them can generate cash flows for you during retirement. For instance, the second house that you own and have not passed on to your legal heirs can be one vital medium through which you can generate the yield through rental income. Likewise, if you have invested in PPF or may have contributed to EPF during your working years as a salaried individual, you can expect to get some cash flows in the form of annuity or pension during retirement. Also, if you are in receipt of gratuity or investable surplus in the form of bonus, you should deploy such money in safe investment instruments that can provide decent appreciation over time and can generate regular cash flows during your retirement. Then the next is, what do I desire to do during retirement? Many a times, most individuals, after having retired, wish to travel and see places around the world at least once a year. But mind you, this can be an added expenditure, and thus if you wish to do so, you have to plan it well. As inflation erodes the value of money, the cost of travel is also bound to go up. So say a sum of rupees 1 lakh that you expend today on a travel for leisure is expected to grow to rupees 6.73 lakh if inflation on vacation grows at 10%. After having asked yourself relevant questions to plan your retirement prudently, you have to also list down which investment instruments would be suitable for you in accordance to your risk profile. Suitability of asset classes. Here you have to recognize the risk-return trade-off of every asset class and assess if it fits into your risk profile. And while expecting returns from asset classes, you need to be realistic. You cannot expect equities to deliver 30% growth every year, or you cannot always expect to make a huge gain like your neighbor did from his investments in real estate. So here is a chart that can be of help. The risk-return trade-off. The risk-return trade-off is potential of returns correlated with the risk of the respective asset classes. The potential of returns rises with the rise in the level of risk. Looking at the chart, you can figure out that an asset class like equities has high risk, high return characteristic, and debt is known to be low risk, low return generating asset class. But before you invest, take into account the following points. As mentioned earlier, relate each asset class to your own risk appetite and investment horizon. You see, although you may have a high risk appetite, you should not invest in risky asset classes if you're just a few years away, that is 2 or 3 years away from your financial goal. While you may maximize your return by taking maximum risk, do not forget to allocate your assets to minimize the level of risk for a certain level of return expectation. As allocation across asset classes is the best strategy to diversify your risk, you should maintain a fair level of diversification while you invest. After having done this thoughtful analysis, all you have to do is start building your retirement corpus by following these 5 simple conclusive steps to live a blissful retired life. Number 1, start early. The key to accumulating your retirement corpus is to start early. You see, if you procrastinate on the implementation of your retirement planning exercise, the lesser will be the corpus you'll be able to build. Remember, the early bird gets a bigger pie. If you are not in a position to save and commit to your retirement planning exercise, do not hesitate to cut on unnecessary expenses such as weekly entertainment expenses, leisurely vacations, etc. You see, cutting down on such expenses may help you invest more and reach closer to your targeted corpus of retirement. The number 3 is create an ideal investment portfolio. Taking the learning from our previous sessions of Money Simplified, consider your risk profile to suitably allocate your assets. You see, some assets like equities have the ability to offer you a decent inflation-adjusted return, while fixed income instruments can offer you safety. Likewise, gold can be a store of value and act as an insurance for your portfolio. Mutual funds offer you various investment options across asset classes and can help you build a well-diversified retirement portfolio. But mind you, while investing, do a thorough risk assessment considering your age and the time horizon you have before you retire. Once you have invested, a frequent review of your portfolio is necessary to timely rebalance if need be. Number 4 is invest regularly. To achieve the targeted corpus of your retirement, it is vital to invest regularly in prudently selected investment avenues. Moreover, if you are in the prime phase of earning life cycle and in receipt of annual bonuses or have windfall income or even otherwise, such funds can go towards planning your retirement needs. And the last but not the least, when you're already retired, look for regular cash inflows. You see, post-retirement, you might not have any other source of income. Liquidity will be the key concern for you. So you would have to rely on your investments to manage your expenses during retired life. Remember, during such times, it may not be very wise to hold high exposure to equities due to high risk involved. You should not be holding more than 25 to 30% portfolio in equity as an asset class. On the other hand, you should be invested in instruments offering a regular interest of annually say 8 or 9.5%. Therefore, you could consider small savings schemes like post office monthly income schemes, senior citizen savings schemes, bank fixed deposits, etc. that can help you generate regular cash inflows. You see, they can act as a safe source to generate regular income from your portfolio. Moreover, you can systematically withdraw your money from your mutual funds to take care of your regular investments. So to end our learning exercise today, We now invite you to test your learning by taking the simple quiz and win exciting prizes. Thank you for participating. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.